FightSaga.com and Halftime Pizza proudly present Real Talk with boxing professional Rick Glaser.
Hello?
Joe, I think you're on mute, buddy. Joseph, you there? Well, looks like he's having some trouble with his mic, but that's all right, guys. Welcome back. This is Real Talk with Mr. Rick Glaser. So let's give him a hand, guys. All right. Rick, thanks for joining us. We'll fill some time here before our host comes back. How's it going tonight, Rick?
Not bad, not bad. Just doing some business and taking time out for this great show with you guys. Always enjoy the show on Monday nights working with you two fine gentlemen, and it's a pleasure.
Absolutely, man. And glad that you're here. And we got Joe back. Welcome back.
Guys, my apologies. Wouldn't you know it? As soon as the music kicked on. Yeah, it's raining here in San Antonio, Texas. So whenever I do the show out on my patio, I always get, strange Wi-Fi signaling issues. That's all right. I just put on my hotspot, which was in good use this past Friday during the official weigh-in at Homeroom. I was very pleased with the turnout. The hundreds of you guys that actually tuned in or turned out for the weigh-in. Thank you so much. You got to see me exercise my spin technique doing the weigh-ins. I was DJing for about 4 hours. Had fun doing it. And I couldn't do Gogi show last night, and we're going to reschedule on Wednesday. But guys, tonight, taking center stage, the incomparable real Rick Glaser. Rick, thank you so much for being here, sir. Rick, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. How you doing?
I'm doing great now that I have a signal again. Guys, we have a lot to catch up with. We apologize that we didn't have Rick's show last Monday. It couldn't be avoided. So we have a lot to catch up with, guys. And once again, we've got a packed show for everybody. We've got another edition of Rick Glaser Twitter Watch. Well, it's going to be a good one. And then we've got, 12 rounds of fact or fiction scheduled today. But I'm pleased to announce, guys, to make up for last Monday's absence, we've got a special Labor Day Monday edition next week. We've got the real Rick Glaser on the air for 2 straight hours. How do you like that, guys?
Ooh, yeah.
Yep, we're going to promote that event, and we are going to have a full hour. We're going to be taking calls, and we're going to give the back half of the show. We're going to get callers, and we're going to allow you guys to determine the programming. So we're going to allow all questions from our listeners. How do you like that?
That sounds cool,
That's
man.
fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Rick, for doing this, brother. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
But we're going to start off, guys. And once again, we have a packed show, so we're going to get right down to it. Also, we do want, once again, the topic du jour on everyone's mouths today, is the shot heard around the world. And guys, if you watched Beefy Liam versus, Kosabutsky, then you understand the difference between a legal shot in the belt line and a low blow. Holy shit. Big difference. So, guys, that leads us to our first segment. Teddy, the honors, please.
Maybe, just maybe, it's time for Rick Glaser's Twitter Watch. Bang!
Gotta love Teddy.
Thank you, Teddy.
All right, so let's get this thing rolling, Rick. So this is from August 28th, 2023 at 11:10 a.m. And I quote, Terence Crawford definitely deserves to be taken seriously. Even his haters must agree with that. And with Crawford saying he wants Canelo at 168, I'm taking him very seriously. It's a huge jump up those 21 pounds in 3 full weight classes. But Crawford says he can win, and I don't ever again bet against Terence Crawford. Yes, expound a little bit on that, Rick. You taking Crawford in that fight or no?
I mean, you're going to get good odds to take Crawford, so I like Crawford. I like Crawford in the fight. There's something about this guy that just spells winner, and there is just something about this guy. It's very unique. When he turned away from Errol Spence after that knockdown, and he started, grabbing his Johnson and barking at Jermell Charlo. That was some great shit. And I just think that this guy's one of those. He's so relaxed in there.
Yep.
And he doesn't use up nervous energy. And I think he's capable. I know he is capable of throwing as many punches in the 12th round as he has in any round in the fight. And I think that he's got a tremendous chin. I think that he just is one of those type of fighters between being a lefty, switching to righty, switching back. And I just think that he's got too many tools in the war chest, in the toolbox, too much artillery in the war chest. And I just think that he's capable of winning the fight. Now, I don't think that the other guy is going to run over him like people think physically, because Crawford has tremendous balance. And sometimes what you make up in strength, you make up in balance. He's got tremendous balance. And if you remember early in the fight, he pushed Earl off with one hand, and Earl went flying right across the ring like a rag doll, a rag doll. You remember that? Like, it's just like easy. Like easy.
Yeah. You know what? And don't forget, Rick, he's got that wrestling background, so he's got tremendous upper body strength.
Oh, yes.
Right,
yes.
right. He's got great upper body. I was just going to say, and he's got lower body strength because he's got great balance. And if anybody can beat Canelo of all the other guys that aren't like 68 and 75 pounders, this is the guy. He's got all the tools. He just is. He's special. He just is. I mean, I've said it for years. I've said it for years. I said he's going to beat Spence much easier than people thought. I didn't think it would be that bad. Oh my God! But yes, yes. He's just one of those fight. Another thing he does, he's not afraid of the bright lights. He's just one of those kind of guys. He's like an assassin. He's like a professional killer. Just walks in and does his job. And
Marvin Hagler, brother.
Yeah, a lot like Marvin Hagler, correct. And I just think this is a very, very special fighter. I just want to make note of something, okay? Over the last 25, 30 years, I've watched an awful lot of fights. I've seen some very funny things happen, like when Barrera shoved Hamed's head into the turnbuckle and says, "Who's your daddy?" Okay, okay. And when he grabbed his Johnson, and he kept telling Jermell, "You're next, you're next." And then Jermell turns to some guy and said, "I don't know what this guy's talking about. He knows the fight. I've already done this shit." I mean, he was shitting his pants, fucking Charlo. He was literally shitting his pants.
Wasn't that Harden?
It was James Harden.
It was James Harden, wasn't it?
That was great television. There, great editing.
Well,
great editing by Showtime.
And here's a side note, guys. When he grabbed his Johnson, motioning towards Jermell, it was well below the belt line.
Right.
Just thought I'd add
right. Very good. But I just think that this guy is something special, and he's capable of winning the fight. There's no. I don't think this guy would go into a fight he's not capable of winning. I think he's a very smart guy.
He is.
So
very resourceful. And you know what? Bruce Trampler told me this 12 years ago after he beat Bradis Prescott on HBO. His first assignment on the big stage. And Bruce knew it back then, Rick. And I'm sure you did as well.
I know. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great
Well,
fighter.
look, and I will say this, and I love me some Terence Crawford in the ring. But I will say this: it's very difficult for me to, of all the things that I've been talking about in his business acumen or lack thereof, it's been very difficult for me to actually be able to celebrate his victory, because dare I say, Terence Crawford fanatics now. Again, where were you guys a year ago? Less than a year ago, when his pay-per-view flopped on BLK Prime. I will say this, though. They have turned into the worst fans since, Mayweather fanatics. Guys, once again, I was actually told by someone on Facebook the other day that I should be sued for slanderous remarks. And I said, you know what? Look, I love me some Crawford in the ring, and I'm not biased. And everything I'm saying in defending the business of boxing with all of the bullshit that he's been talking about doing his victory lap throughout the media, I hope that he sues me for slander, because then it'll come out in the court of law in the discovery that everything that I've been saying is 100% true.
Nobody's going to sue you, Joe. You do nothing wrong, and it's called freedom of speech. I wouldn't worry about a thing. But that being said, I think the guy's very nimble on his feet, very fast on his feet, and he moves around, guy. And I can see him moving around consistently, moving around the outside of Canelo, then stepping in and getting it on the side of him and stuff, and using his feet to outmaneuver. Canelo does not have the fastest feet in the world, and that could be a big difference in that fight.
That's a huge problem, Rick.
Yep. And keep in mind,
the great
guys,
jab that Crawford has.
I'm sorry,
as well.
Go ahead, G Funky. My apologies.
I was gonna say the great jab that Crawford has as well.
Woo!
That punch is consistently giving Canelo trouble. I mean, it's a tough matchup, but I could definitely see him giving Canelo fits.
Let's put it this way: he's got the skills and the chemical makeup mentally to do it, and the speed to do it. Okay, it's the physicality is the other issue. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to tell you what: I think that fight's going to happen. I really do.
There is a good chance of it.
Boy, you're jumping the gun, brother, with factor fiction, man. But that's
I
all
think
right.
it's going to happen.
That's all right. I came up with 12 today because I had that feeling.
I think it's going to happen.
Yep. You know what? I believe as well, because that is, correct me if I'm wrong, currently the biggest money fight that you can make in boxing outside of Usyk Fury.
I think that I don't really agree with that. I think it's every bit as much a money fight as that fight is. I don't think it has to take a backseat to any fight in boxing presently.
The only reason why I was saying bigger or not as big monetarily is because of the Saudis. But if it weren't for the Saudis, given those huge inflated purses, yes, it is the biggest money fight in boxing, guys. And it would do over, even in piracy, in this era of piracy, it would do over 2 million purchases.
Yeah, Crawford's hot right now too.
Yeah,
Crawford is the biggest attraction in boxing right now.
Yep.
I think between Canelo and Crawford, it does 2.5 million. Would be my prediction.
That would be fantastic.
It's too much money to ignore, guys. I think it will happen, but when? That's the question, and that's coming up in Fact or Fiction, guys. But we're currently. Well, on another segment. So, Teddy.
Maybe, just maybe, it's time for Rick Glaser's Twitter watch. Bang!
Oh, yes. Thanks a whole lot. And speaking of Twitter, before I read this tweet here from Rick, I seen you put on Twitter that you were at a jazz festival this weekend. How was that?
Yes.
Oh, it was really good. We had a great time with great friends, with really wonderful friends of ours, David and Darlene. She's a nurse like Sonia is, and he's a retired CPA. He was started out with a printing company, then went to a software company. Now he's retired. He's 61. Very, very good friends of ours. We had a great time. Went to a great restaurant. We listened to great jazz. My wife spent a fortune in the small boutiques there, which is always like her. And it is what it is. I mean,
Oh, that's
we had a
great.
great time.
That's great,
Yep.
Rick. I enjoy jazz. I love jazz. I have a nice
As do I, sir.
jazz collection. Joe as well, and I love jazz festivals. They're the
Well,
best.
you know what?
man.
I will say this though: it's a damn shame that I didn't get to spin any jazz on Friday. It was reggaeton hell, brother. Reggaeton hell. My word, I got so sick and tired of listening to the heartbeat rhythm. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Oh my goodness! I thought I was gonna have to perform CPR on somebody. Ching out, dude.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So,
but I will say this though: it was nice to, well, just bust out the skills again. Took me a little while to get warmed up, but once I got into my rhythm, it was all
there you
gravy
go.
after that.
Just like a
Oh,
fighter.
so
Just
much
like a fighter.
fun.
Yeah,
But
just like a
let's
fighter, Joe.
hear Rick Glazer's Twitter watch number 2.
All right, number 2, and this is from August 26, 2023 at 3:25 p.m. It says, I quote, Usyk stops Dubois, but that's a protestable fight. That body shot that put Usyk down was 100% legitimate. Then referee Luis Pavon giving instructions to Usyk to take more time. Both are grounds for a protest. Expound more on that, Rick, for the audience here.
Well, it was what we've watched for years in boxing. It was a textbook, belt line body shot. There was no and it was an uppercut that started out at the belt line and moved up into the navel area, and it's a completely illegal shot. I don't know. I talked to many boxing guys, and all of them say it was a legal shot.
Yep.
Yes,
Going
sir.
on, here's the difference. A lot of the pictures shown on the internet that were shown were fake pictures or pictures of other punches thrown, because the punch was thrown as an uppercut with the laces up, and a lot of the pictures that were shown was another punch where he did hit him low, and it was with the laces down. So it's caused a little bit of a controversy. Louis Pavon's only supposed to give the following instructions. Yes, that was a low blow, and the type of low blow, intentional or unintentional. And he's supposed to tell him he's got up to 5 minutes to recover. After that, you're not supposed to say anything. And in the meantime, he kept telling him to stay down, take your time. Oh no, you got another minute and a half to go. Stay down, and he's coaching him. He can't do that. So both those things are the punch itself is protestable. Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to overturn the decision and they're going to award the fight at that point as a knockout to Usyk. It was a decision by a referee, but you can call it a no contest, and you can also call it call for a rematch, or a no contest and a rematch. So we'll see what they do, but they should at least order an immediate rematch. I mean, that was a horrible call. I mean, forget about, first of all, he never, if he got hit in the balls like he said he did low, how come he never grabbed his lower body?
Nope, he sure didn't. He never reacted the way someone usually does.
Right.
Like once again, guys, look at Efi Ajagba being tagged in the ding-ding, right?
Right.
Several times during that fight. And once again, it resulted in a DQ. But Efi Ajagba, that's a man who was cracked in the Liberty Bell.
Right.
Okay, once again, Oleksandr Usyk never reacted that way.
Right.
Yep.
Now, listen to this. And once again, this is what big fat Dan Raphael had to say. He's just a sore loser. Daniel Dubois, that shot was clearly below the belt, and Luis Pavon was justified in calling it a low blow, clearly a low blow. He's just a sore loser, and he also quit. End quote.
Geez.
What do you have to say about that? Your favorite journalist, Dan Raphael.
Well, whatever happened after that, forget about it. We know what happened after that. It's irrelevant. Okay, everybody's trying to take smoke off what happened, talking about Dubois saying that he quit, he was stopped, or whatever. It doesn't even count. It doesn't matter. We're dealing with we're dealing with something that was called a low blow, that was a legitimate punch, and we're dealing with Pavone, the referee, who was coaching the fighter. I mean, those are two blatant things that are totally wrong. Whatever happened later in the fight, I don't give a shit. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Woo!
That's true.
No.
That's true.
Here's my retort from Dan. You know, Rick, you obviously don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You're obviously a hater for Oleksandr Usyk, and that's the last thing I'm going to say about it.
I'm not a hater at all. I'm not a hater at all.
I know. I just wanted to get your thoughts on my Big Dan Raphael impression.
Right. I'm just saying that whatever happened after the 5th round, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't, because the two things that the protests do are going to be based on the punch being a belt line body shot, legit, and the fact that Pavone was coaching the fighter, and he can't do that. He can only say the following. Period. I'll repeat it again. What kind of low blow? Intentional, unintentional, and you have up to 5 minutes. After that, he can't say anything to the guy. And what he was doing was coaching him. You can't do it now. You can go over and say, you can go over and say to the fighter, "Hey, are you all right now? Can we continue now?" Yes, you can do that, but you can't tell him to stay down. The fuck?
That's look. What's going to happen, Rick, and you know this, because let's look at the precedents, right? When you go look back at Juan Manuel Marquez versus Jim Rex Jacka, he was caught coaching Juan Manuel Marquez during that fight because of a bad gash that he suffered from after the 4th round. Okay, and he was well up on the judges' scorecards, and your favorite ref, Lawrence Cole, right? He basically stated, "Hey, you know what? You're way up on the judges' scorecards. You can actually retire, and you'll win this fight." He was caught doing that, saying that on camera, and they suspended him. But
I know.
Once again, it's. So more than likely, that's the worst that's going to happen for Oleksandr Usyk. Now, I will say this, and this is, once again, before we haven't yet greeted all of our extended family members on War Week Radio in the chat yet, but I'm going to say this because this is, so once again, T-Pits, welcome to the show, sir. Rick Glaser's agreeing with you. Okay, they were authentic and the shot was legal, right? He's agreeing with you. He's saying the shot was legal. And he goes, Usyk is weak to the body shots, and AJ was cheated out of his body shots too. The refs always protect Usyk because of Ukraine politics and what they're encouraging.
I don't.
So what I'm going to ask,
that's got nothing to do with it.
So what I'm going to ask, though, if he does fight Tyson Fury, does Tyson Fury have to win by way of knockout because of the Ukrainian conflict with Russia?
No. Believe me, no. Absolutely not.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And once again, I always stick up for the business of boxing. I just wanted to hear you say it.
And before we move on, I want to say this as far as what Dan Raphael had to say. I seen him do an interview too, right? And he's saying, you know, even if it was a clean blow and Usyk goes down, he's going to get up anyway. You know, he's a warrior. Like, Dan, you don't know that, okay? Nobody knows that. All right.
No.
Nobody thought Kostadzu would quit against Ricky Hatton.
Yep.
Come on.
And what? Zab Judah isn't a warrior when he was hit on the belt line by Amir Khan
or Miguel Cotto in that fight against Cotto.
Yep.
Jeez, those were vicious.
No. I'm referring to the Amir Khan fight specifically though, because he was hit on the belt line. The referee correctly called it a legal blow. He went down like it was a low blow, and the referee counted him out.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm referring to that.
Yeah, and we don't know. That's the thing that's irritating me about a lot of people. Oh, he would have just got up anyway. And for Dan,
you know what, Chief Funky? You haven't been doing this as long as I have. You don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you, King Kong Bundy. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan Raphael.
Oh, King Kong Bundy. Woo! I love it.
Oh,
Guys,
man.
let's move on, because we're already almost at the 30-minute mark. And boy, time just flies while we're having fun.
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
we're just getting started, it seems. So G Funky, number three, senor.
All right. This is from August 26, 2023 at 7:39 a.m. And I quote, from all indications, the Tank Davis versus Isaac Cruz rematch will happen this fall and definitely flop again on pay-per-view, just like it flopped the first time. Not only is Tank now way past a Pitbull Cruz, but there's zero public demand for the fight. Tank should be fighting the elite lightweights, not journeyman lightweights. Good luck to the financial backers of this fight. Hashtag Paramount Global, hashtag Showtime, and hashtag PBC. They'll need it.
Wow. You know what? It's impossible to argue with that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I would not. I don't have any interest in that fight, to be quite honest with you, other than it was a competitive fight. But to pay for it again, yeah, that's a tough sell.
Yep.
So once again, in the immortal words of Rick Glaser, that tweet is self-explanatory. Do I have to expound any further?
Nope.
Woo! But I will say this, though. Now, keep in mind, since scoring a huge hit against Ryan Garcia, something tells me, though, that they are doing this to target the larger Hispanic demographic once again. They don't care about the diehard fans in this one. Rick, would you agree with that? And that's what they have in mind, apparently.
I think so, but Pitbull Cruz is not that big a name. That I mean, there's a lot bigger names that Mexican Mexican Americans follow. Okay, and I don't think Mexican nationals that live in the United States, and I just don't think it's that big a deal. I mean, they're making too big a deal out of this. I think it's more or less they think it's a safe win for him. He's not a puncher, Isaac Cruz, and he's right in front of you. You can't miss him. There's nothing slick about the guy. And I think that they look at it as a win compared to like fighting these other guys that they're not so sure. I mean, Frank Martin's a much more challenging fight. They've also promoted Frank Martin, but Frank Martin can't sell a ticket. So they don't want to do that fight. Yep. If he ever beat Tank, what do they got? They got Frank Martin, who can't sell a ticket.
Yeah, that's right. That is absolutely correct. Something tells me that Frank Martin's coming up on Fact or Fiction as well.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, guys, we're at the 30-minute mark, so we're going to get right down to it.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for Fact or Fiction.
Floyd Mayweather. All right.
Thank you, Floyd. Please do the honors.
Actually, to me, it sounds more like Lou Duva, for Christ's sake. Keep going.
Oh, Chingao. Dude, look, I will say this. God rest Lou Duva. Rest in peace, senor. And I love me some Lou Duva, but no, dude. No, come on, man. Dude, that's insulting there, brother.
Listen, I'm going to tell you. Listen, when we went on this show, I noticed for the first time Don Shargan's picture up there. Yep. I really had noticed it before. So, make a long story short, I'm going to tell you a real quick Don Shargan story. The year Sylvester Stallone got in the Boxing Hall of Fame, and I think it was Mike Tyson, they got in the Hall of Fame. I was down there with a girl I was dating at the time. And she saw Don Shargan. We were at Graziano's, and she saw Don Shargan, and his wife was sitting right next to him, of course. She goes, "Oh my, what a handsome man!" Okay. When I said, "Oh, that's Don Shargan," she asked me who it was. Don Shargan, and she goes, "Oh, what a handsome, classy, what a handsome man, what a classy looking guy." I said to him, "I says, you don't know about him?" She says, "No." I says, he just got out of federal prison after 25 years. He robbed 50 banks. So she didn't know I was kidding. I told her later on I was kidding, but she didn't know I was kidding. So you know what she said? Well, just because he robbed banks doesn't mean he's not good looking and classy.
Chingo. Hence the reason why you didn't take her past the first date.
Oh my God.
He
No,
he just got out like Billy Bats, huh?
Go home and get
right.
Bingo.
I had about 6 months of her. She wasn't the brightest bulb.
Well, tell you what, I could say, well, never mind. But
That's
I will say
beautiful.
this though, yeah, that's an homage and to my greatest mentor, Don Worley
Yep.
Jargon, who taught me
Good,
everything
good,
about the
good man.
business. Yep,
See,
and
Good
once
man.
again, that's why we call ourselves War a Week Radio Network.
Yeah.
Because for 25 years as the matchmaker under Eileen Eaton, also a Hall of Famer, God rest her soul, promoter at the Olympic Auditorium, he was expected to come up with a new fight card every single week for 25 years. You give me another promoter who could do that, Rick.
No.
Good luck. Good luck. Yep.
Right.
And the boxing scene,
That's why he's a legend. As a matchmaker and promoter, he is in the Hall of Fame as both.
Yep.
Yep.
And so
No
is,
question.
so is his
Wife.
is
Wife.
unmistakable counterpart. Yeah.
Yep. And the boxing scene here in Sacramento has not been the same since he's been
Nope.
gone. Rest in peace, the Don
Look, and
Chargan.
like once again, Rick, how many promoters could take a club fighter and turn them into world champions these days?
The only guy that's done it in the last 30 years that I can remember was Mike Akery made Paul Spadafore a world champ. I was the matchmaker. There's one, and there's very, very few. I mean, I can't even think of anybody else really.
Ken Thompson got Tim Bradley to the
Well, wait, hold it. I agree, but don't forget, he brought him to Gary Shaw.
Yep.
And he didn't do it on his own. Mike Akery did it on his own. That's a big difference. Listen, all due respect to Ken Thompson, was a lovely man, and Alex Campanova, a real good boxing guy, but they had help. Now that they went to other people, and this Mike Akery didn't go to anybody. He just did it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
And neither did Don. And once again, the sport hasn't been the same since the passing of both Lorraine and then Don Chargan.
Yep.
They were the and once again, Lorraine, if you knew her, she either loved you or she hated you. She hated me. She was called the Dragon Lady by some, and she was called Mom by others. And she was called the litmus test, because if she hated you, well, I'm not going to say any more, Rick, because you just stated that, she hated you. But she was called by most who knew her the best judge of character.
I'll tell you a great story. So Don used to call me once in a while, about maybe once every 2 months, and when he was working with Oscar as the advisor. And he told me once, he said, I just want to let you know, my wife hated you, I said, oh, I know. I says, believe me, she let me know every time she laid eyes on me.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you another funny story about that. And I think they were having at the Arco Arena. It was a Friday night fight, and it was one of his fighters against a Don King fighter. And Don apparently didn't appreciate the business dealings of Lorraine Chargan, who was always on the up and up, right? And Don didn't appreciate the treatment either, right? And so he had some words for the always candid Lorraine Chargan. And word got back to Don, Teddy Atlas, and he came and said, hey, Don, you better go check on your girl. She's getting into it with Don King in the back. You better go get her. And so he goes back there. And boy, Lorraine is tearing into Don. And Don is just sitting there with his mouth shut.
Right.
And Teddy goes, well, on second thought, I think she's doing just fine on her own.
Oh, boy.
There you go.
That is
fire away.
Lorraine Chargan. Right. God rest in peace.
Yes, yes, indeed. So let's go ahead. Let's get into number one. Fact or fiction for Mr. Rick. Number one, Errol Spence Jr. will announce tomorrow that he will exercise his right to rematch Terence Bud Crawford, fact or fiction, Rick?
I'm not so convinced because if you're going to announce it, you don't wait till the last minute. So I'm not sure anymore. I thought he was going to 100% announce it, but he's waiting until the last minute. Normally, wait till the last minute, they announce they're not going to. So I'm going to have to say that, unless he's going against the tide and he's waiting to the last minute and he's going to do it, I don't see it now,
Well, from what I've been told, Rick, and I thought you would actually say this, but from what I've been told, in the contract it states 30 business days, which means he's got 2 more weeks officially.
No, that I didn't know. I thought it was 30-day period. Okay.
I was told from someone knowledgeable of this situation, and most people who listen to the show understand who that is. He was told that, 30 business days, which technically means he's got 6 weeks from the fight, right?
Right.
And there it is. And there it is, guys. So don't expect
Rick,
an announcement for the next 2 weeks.
But you make a good point, Rick. Yeah, like why wait till the last minute now that we know he's got more time, technically? But why wait so long if you're willing to get back in there, like his fans are saying? Oh,
that is a very good point, Rick. Yes. Why wait?
Yeah.
Something tells me he's having second thoughts on taking another ass.
Well, no, I don't think he's having. I don't think he's having second thoughts. I think he's got balls. I just think that Heyman and Espinoza are trying to give him alternative paths not to do this because it's going to be a financial bloodbath, and he's going to get the shit beat out of him again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And once again, you hit the nail right on the head, brother. This rematch will not do anywhere near the numbers that the first fight did, which weren't spectacular to begin with.
Yeah,
right.
But good. Yeah. We got to give him that. So, all right, let's move on. Number 2, fact or fiction. Oleksandr Usyk will elect to relinquish his IBF title rather than facing Filip Hrgovic December on DAZN. Fact or fiction, Rick?
Something tells me he's going to keep that title. Something tells me he's going to fight Hrgovic.
Let's hope. Well, when is he going to squeeze that in? Because once again, both promoters are targeting January for the Saudis.
I know. I just think that something either he's going to really fight him, or they're going to pay Hrgovic off and put him on the sidelines or something, or put him on the show or something like an interim title. Who knows? There's so many moving pieces there. It's tough to say.
Well, yeah, and you're absolutely right. But Eddie Hearn was in the news and had this to say about it. Well, undoubtedly, the IBF will now, once he was successful in defending his WBA strap against Daniel Dubois, now IBF is the next in the pecking order. And that's my guy, Filip Hrgovic. And no, we will not take step-aside money. End quote. That's what he had to say. Now, do you think, once again, he's just a promoter. He's not Filip's manager. Do you think Filip will be the wiser and say,
Hrgovic's manager is Keith Conley now. So it'll be an interesting decision. We'll see.
Yeah, and there it is. Very interesting. And there it is. But once again, fact or fiction, tres, señor.
All right, number 3. Chris Eubank Jr. will once again get KO'd by Beefy Liam Smith this Saturday. Fact or fiction?
Well, I don't know about KO'd, but he'll lose again. Put it that way to you.
Wow. And what was your response, Chief Funky, when I actually rattled that off to you before?
If he tries to do his Roy Jones imitation again, I think he gets knocked out again. That style's not for everyone, man. Roy Jones was a special, unique talent in this sport, and trying to fight and imitate what he does is just not for everyone, and it's certainly not for Chris Eubank Jr., in my opinion.
Now, Rick, from just for shits and giggles, right? How would you characterize Roy Jones as being? Have you ever seen any other fighters live that were more spectacular than a prime Roy Jones Jr. in your career?
Well, he let me say this to you. He was spectacular, but everything he did was unorthodox, and like were his own moves. They weren't from prior fighters, and it was a lot of herky jerky stuff that fighters just don't, normally do. And he was so fast, he got away with it, and so agile and so nimble on his feet, he just got away with it. But in reality, you can't teach that shit.
That's true. That's very true.
Indeed. Oh, hold on. I have to interrupt this. Hold on. Anthony Manzano, happy birthday, my friend. And thank you for spending your birthday with us, brother. Says, Joe.
Give him a hand for that.
And there it is. There it is. He says, Joe, every time you do an impression of Eddie Hearn, you don't sound anything like Eddie. You sound a lot like Robert Plant.
Robert Plant. Oh, that's great.
I tell you what, I will take that as a compliment, my friend.
Does anyone remember laughter?
Oh shit! You know what, Robert Plant? Once again, I'm a singer, Anthony, and I tell you what, anytime I get mentioned in the same sentence with Robert Plant, boy, I will hang my hat on that, brother.
That's great company right there.
Brother. Thank you for that. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, frontman of all time. Yes.
Yep. He dresses to the left, and yeah,
dude, we didn't need to know that, but yes, you're right. All you have to do is just watch Song Remains the Same, and you understand that.
Yes, all day long.
But I tell you what, cuatro, senor. Cuatro.
All right, number 4. George Groves is correct when he states Usyk defeats Tyson Fury. Should they fight in January? Fact or fiction, Rick?
Absolutely not.
Oh, hey, you just pissed off Dan Raphael again.
You know what, Rick? You don't know what you're talking about. Stick to whatever you do behind the scenes. I have no idea what that is, but you don't know boxing.
That is a great impression of Dan Raphael. Holy shit, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. To the dismay of Rick Glaser.
Yeah.
As
and
everyone who
Rick.
knows Rick understands that is by far his favorite journalist ever in boxing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with Rick though. This is prior to what we saw Saturday night with Dubois. Fury's gonna squash Usyk, man. Just squash him, I think.
Yep. Too big, too strong, too much hand speed, ring IQ, a little bit of everything.
Speaking of which, Rick, have you seen At Home with the Furies yet? Probably not because you're so busy.
No.
But have you seen it? And you're not going to either.
No. Does nothing for me.
So, guys, there you have it. He's not a fan of Tyson Fury.
No,
he just calls it like he sees it.
I like Tyson Fury, but I'm not watching some fucking groupie fucking documentary. That's just not how I operate.
Well, guys, if you missed it on my Friday episode of Warwick Radio Chats with my brother Brandon Walker, your favorite journalist, other than Dan Raphael, I will say this: we did our review of At Home with the Furies. Guys, go check it out if you haven't already. And there it is.
Yes, sir.
G Funky.
All right.
Number 5, Cinco, Senor.
Barrio Cinco. All right, let's do this. Number 5 for Rick. The WBC mandated a fight between Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin, and that will not come to fruition due to promotional and network alliances. Fact or fiction, Rick?
I think it's got a good shot of happening, and I think it goes to purse bids. I don't think they'll be able to make a deal, and I think it'll go to purse bids. So we'll see. We'll see.
Looks like Joe might have dropped off. He might have dropped off again, but yeah, I mean, it's a tough fight because both guys aren't too big ticket sellers. But I think it's a good matchup, to be quite honest with you, Rick. Stevenson and Martin. I mean, I would favor Stevenson, but I think it's a good matchup.
100%. Good fight. Yep.
So we'll see. And it's a fight that needs to happen as well. You back, Joe?
Yeah, I'm sorry, brother. What did I miss? I had to take a Veda test real quick, just like Alicia Bumgarner.
Ah, no, no sweat. We were just talking about the WBC mandating Stevenson and Frank Martin.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Look, guys, and I really feel for Mauricio because of the promotional network alliances. Yeah, most mandated fights, they can bark all they want. They can mandate whatever they want. There's a very good possibility if they're not aligned under the same promotional banner, then it's not going to happen more than likely. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this has got a little bit of a shot at happening because Spence is his promoter, Earl Spence's company. What does he call that company again? You know, whatever he calls it.
Man Down Promotions, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait, are you sure it's not called Knock the Fuck Out Promotions?
No. But no, the reason why it was called Man Down because he was down because he was down 3 times. It was a perfect day for his company.
Woo! Holy
Rick,
shit.
Rick, you just set a light bulb off in my head, and hopefully these guys over at Showtime heard this. But if they make this fight happen, and because Frank is associated with Spence in the promotional stuff, imagine this: 2 cross-promotion fights, this being the co-feature to the rematch between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. They might be able to sell that paper.
You can't afford it. Can't afford it. No.
That's it.
No.
Okay. But that would be cool.
No.
Once again, Rick Glaser.
That'll be the most expensive co-feature in pay-per-view history.
Yep.
And we're gonna, so you can't listen. The Saudis are gonna do that doubleheader with Wilder and Joshua as the co-feature. And they're gonna do the other fight, Usyk, Joshua and Usyk Fury and Usyk is the main event. That's a freak. Okay,
Yep.
There's no way they could afford to do this as a co-feature. No prayer.
That's it. And once again, Rick Glaser giving everyone an education on the business of boxing. Thank you very much, sir. Tell you what,
sir.
Maestro, are we on 6?
6.
We're on 6.
Number 6.
Very good. We're midway through the bout now, guys.
All right, number 6. Brian Mendoza will shock fight fans down under and KO Tim Tszyu.
No.
Ooh. Now, just because, just for everyone in the or questioning this, right? Are you speaking with your head or with your heart, Rick Glaser?
Neither. I just don't think that he's capable of beating Tim Tszyu. He punches good, but he doesn't punch that good. He doesn't box well. This is just a guy. He got a little lucky at a couple of fights, and he's going to fucking Australia. They'll bring him over there in 2 weeks' notice. He'll have half. He'll be half of what he's supposed to be. Come on.
Yeah, he's got a good trainer, Coach Salas, but we'll see how it works out for him.
Well, I tell you what, he is. Who's he working with right now? Who's his strength and conditioning coach? Isn't it Memo Heredia?
Ooh,
something tells me he might have a couple Vegemite sandwiches before he goes. Down under. Woo!
Oh man, that's good.
Having too much fun tonight, brother. We've got 10 minutes, so let's fly through these last 6, bro.
All right, number 7. Terence Crawford is correct when he states Top Rank didn't want him to become a superstar while competing under their promotional banner. Fact or fiction, Rick?
Absolutely false.
Yes, I agree with that. And that's a narrative that's been thrown around.
Oh, goodness
Twitter
gracious. Once again, why is Terence Crawford on this victory lap under mainstream media outlets talking all of this nonsense? Now, once again, we want to love Terence Crawford, but when you badmouth the business, especially with Joe Rogan, a guy who works for a notoriously bad guy who consistently exploits talent, why is he saying this bullshit?
It's beyond me. I don't understand it.
Oh, yeah. Unexcusable. Keep going.
Yep, I agree.
Number 8, senor.
Number 8. Today, F.A. Jagbe still has his ball on ice. Zan Kosabuski. Did I say that right?
Care of Jean Kosabuski.
No, he doesn't. He got laid 6 times since.
No. Keep on reading. Keep on reading.
Okay.
Though.
Who did his best impression of the foul pole? Andrew Golota on Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that's man.
Once again, guys, that's a low blow. Not
Yeah.
what Daniel Dubois delivered to Oleksandr Usyk. Right?
Right.
And once again, Kozabutsky, yeah, he got what he deserved. A big DQ in the 4th round on Saturday night.
Yep, no question about that. Yep.
Number
Keep going.
9, senor.
All right. Hopefully, I don't butcher this name too, but Bahodir, is that how you say it?
It's
Jolalov?
Bahadir Jalalov.
Will.
Yeah.
So just for you guys who are wondering, okay, because I'm a ring announcer, I have to study this shit. So a J in Russian is Zha, right?
Right.
Zha,
Right.
So go ahead, as you were, brother.
Okay, so Jalalov will be a future heavyweight champion, and will ultimately prove to hand Jared Anderson his first professional loss. Fact or fiction?
No, he'll be a heavyweight champ, but he won't give Jared Anderson his first loss. No.
Look, I will say this. I think you're absolutely correct. And this wasn't a tweet that we featured. But I think you're absolutely correct in stating that Jared Anderson needs a new trainer. Would you care to expound on that, sir?
He just needs a new trainer. He's not using his brains, his feet, his hands are not working together, and in a conducive, fluid manner. He fights too much on the inside. He brawls too much. He's got talent. He's got speed. He's supposed to have brains. He's supposed to be on the outside, just eating the guy up like a Michael Doak used to when he was in his heyday.
Wow. I tell you what, though, there's a lot to like, though, about Bahadir Jalalov. Once again, killer left hand. He sets it up perfectly with that jab and his footwork, the way he moves in and out of the pocket, staying out of harm's way, but maneuvering himself into punching range is very impressive. He's going to be very difficult to beat, and there's a reason now why he's 13-0 with 13 knockouts.
Yep.
So, Joe, it's my turn to take a VADA test. So,
all right, here we go. Number 10, brother. Although, fact or fiction, Big Rick, although it was not reported by most major periodicals, Alicia Baumgartner also tested positive for being a man. Fact or fiction? Woo! And no, that was just a jest. You don't have to answer that. But I wanted to get your thoughts, though. I wanted to get your thoughts, brother, on yet another person. And once again, Alicia Baumgartner. And then we've got Robert Hellenius now testing positive. Is there anything that can be done? And I wanted to get your thoughts on Derek Chisora's comments, who stated, well, look, you're going to have to give these guys, once again, a much more strict penalty for them to start taking this seriously, including, just like the Olympics, strength and conditioning coaches aligned with these fighters.
Well, I'm not going to get that far, but I will say that they need to seize their purses until their complete purses until the drug tests come back. And if they fail the drug test, they don't get paid. They don't get paid at all. And the money goes back goes to charity or to something to beef up the steroid testing, something, the performance enhancing drug testing. But they shouldn't get paid. They should get suspended for 3 years. And that's the story there. I mean, it's and if they win the fight, okay, it should get overturned. The other guy should be declared the winner.
Yep. And there it is. And I will say this. Something has to be done. So like with the mob, right? Because right now I stopped covering this story a long time ago because once again, it's the worst kept secret in boxing. Everyone at the elite level is fucking doing it. And once again, this is not indicative of how Rick Glaser thinks. This is just my editorial, right? I will say this, though. It's the worst kept secret in boxing. And unless they make the penalty so stiff that you don't even think about doing it, nothing's going to change, Rick. Do you agree
Correct.
with that part of it?
Correct. 100%.
And there it is. So, guys, before we move forward, we do have to give a shout out to my brother, Sly Tendencies, who gives a big $2 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, shout out to Joe G. Funky and the GOAT, Mr. Glaser. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We learn something new every time he graces the airwaves, and we get to share the air with him. Thank you for recognizing the greatness. Thank you, brother.
All right. Number 11. You ready?
Yes, sir. Number 11.
All right. Number 11. Terence Crawford will be the third man to win the Canelo sweepstakes and fight him at 168 pounds next September. Fact or fiction, Rick?
It may happen faster. Depends depends if he wipes Charlo. If the other guy wipes Charlo out pretty easy, maybe the other Charlo don't step in with him. Who knows? You don't know.
I will say this: if Jamal, Big Charlo, if he continues on this escapade of drinking and doing shrooms and highlighting that publicly, no, he's not going to get the second fight. He's not going to get the opportunity if his brother loses. He's not going to get the opportunity to avenge that loss. And I agree with Rick. And that Terence Crawford may indeed be the second man, Cinco de Mayo, 2024. Yep. That's it. That's it. So I'm going to announce number 12, right? Because I'm going to do my Lupe Contreras, right? Fact or fiction, Rick? Oscar El Pupilo Collazo would be a much bigger star if he weren't campaigning at 105 pounds. Fact or fiction, Rick?
Yeah, of course he would be. I think he's great. He's a great kid. He speaks really good English. He's got a great personality. He's kind. Yep. He's got a ring IQ that's off the charts.
Yep.
He's tall for the weight class. He's not really a midget. He's pretty tall for the weight class. My wife's met him. She says he's adorable. The meantime is, he would be a much bigger star. But I also think he's going to be a star, and I think he's going to bring a lot of looks to whatever weight class he's in. I think he's like a Bam Rodriguez type guy.
Yeah, you know what, man? He is he would be a much bigger star. Once again, if you were on a different platform first, and if he were just in a larger division, because let's just face it, Rick, even though it's a great product, it combines ring IQ, great skill with great action. There just isn't a huge market for the strawweights. And I know no one calls it that anymore, but I'm still going to call it strawweight because that's exactly what it is.
Right, minimum weight, strawweight.
Yeah.
105.
I actually call it jockey weight.
Woo!
Hey, so
Holy
Rick,
shit.
Rick, out of curiosity, just because I asked the question about the Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson fight, I know you said you think it goes a purse bid. What do you think that would be? Who would buy that, and at what price?
That's a very.
I think ESPN will outbid Showtime.
Yep, I agree wholeheartedly. I think, Bob Arum, and with ESPN's money, of course. And can you talk about that though? Because a lot of people think that it's just a promoter. They're whatever. They don't have deep. Well, once again, they're not using their own money for these big main events. Go ahead, Rick. Can you expound on that, please?
Well, yeah, they get a budget from ESPN per year, and it gets broken down to certain fighters get allotted certain money. The star fighters, it was the Crawfords. Now it's Shakur. Now it's Loma, Shakur. It's Teofimo. And they get allotted X amount of dollars. Now, some of them are pay-per-view, like Tyson Fury's pay-per-view, so he doesn't count in that budget. And in the meantime so that's what happens. So the promoters do, but the promoters are also generating the other revenues from around the world. In other words, he goes out and gets, let's say, Amazon Prime and the Asian countries. Arum's got a UK TV deal with Sky TV and includes Ireland. and that. So, all those revenues add up. And then he's got sponsorships, he's got the gate revenue, and there's other peripheral stuff like, say, merchandise sales and stuff, and they generate
Sponsorship
money.
also, yeah.
Sponsorship, but they generate money, on a per show basis, and it is what it is, on a per event
Yep.
basis. And you need an awful lot of money to pay for Shakur and an opponent and a complete show. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's it. Very good, Rick. And I tell you what, you just survived Fact or Fiction once again, brother.
Thanks.
With that said, we've come to the end of the line. Rick Glaser is a very busy man. So, Rick, we will bid you adieu, and we'll give you your parting shots for this episode's listening audience.
Well, real quick, enjoy being on the show again. You guys are really, really good hosts, both of you. And in the meantime, if anyone wants to follow me, it's Rick and Twitter is at Real Rick Glaser 1 GLASER number 1. And I'm a verified account, and I've got a little over 8,000 followers. There are many fake Rick Glaser accounts out there, so just keep that in mind. And I answer all boxing questions, and I will see you guys next Monday night, Labor Day. It'll probably be Eastern time, 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, I would say.
And there it is. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, brother.
Bye-bye now. Thanks.
On
Thank you,
our
Rick.
2-hour extravaganza. Yes, sir. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, 2 hours next Monday, guys. And we'll open up the phone lines for you guys to call in for half the time. Right, Joe?
And there it is. And there it is. Yes, for the final hour, you guys are going to dictate the content. So get your questions ready. Anything you have for Big Rick. Yes, sir. I will say this,
Joe,
though.
I can't let you get away with this.
Yes, sir.
I want to hear an immediately following the first hour. I need to hear that.
And immediately following the first hour, you're going to get all the phone lines open for Big Rick Glaser. And immediately following that, it's The House of Buggin', starring John Leguizamo.
Oh, that Pat Summerall is just pure gold, man. Holy
Thank
shit.
you, brother. I appreciate it. I'm glad no one's saying that sounds like Robert Plant. With that said, guys, we didn't have time. We were on very, very tight 60 with Rick. So we're going to go down right now and thank everyone for tuning in and acknowledge all of our Warwick Radio extended family. First of all, let's go to my brother Bruce. Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz in the Morning. Guys, if you haven't already, please go subscribe to Brother Bruce. Salute Joe and Rick and G Funky. And Refugio Garcia. He says it's 108 in Houston, brother. It's been too hot and a lack of rain. That's surprising because you guys are right there on the coastline. Well, very close to it anyway. I think Galveston is right on the coast, and that's just about 30 minutes away. Yeah, about 30 miles away from Houston, Texas. Like every time I go visit Houston, it's always raining, so that's quite surprising. But thank you for joining us, my friend. Tyco TV, salute Joseph, Rick Glaser, and G Funky. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for always being here.
Yes, sir.
For Rick Glaser, brother. Also, Team Batman Boxing. Canelo would decimate Crawford. Well, that seems to be the consensus, but once again, that's why they fight the fights.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
know for sure until they do it. Also, Bruce Leroy, welcome to the show, sir. He says, tell Glaser it was hilarious when he called manager Marty a clown. Yep, I was laughing as well, brother. Also want to thank Combat Sports Media for joining us tonight. I agree with Rick. Stylistically, it's a great fight for Crawford. He punches harder than Floyd. And as we all know, Floyd punched more than hard enough to get Canelo's respect. And I tell you what, that lead hand of Floyd Mayweather, boy, that did a lot to, conduct or dictate the pace of the fight. Yes, sir. Also, my brother Eric R. Salute to the panel in the chat. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, sir. Also, my brother Eric R. Salute to the panel in the chat. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, sir. Also, my brother Eric R. Salute to the panel in the chat. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, sir. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, sir. My brother Toby Bartlett from across the pond, he says, salute Joe, Rick, and G Funky, and the chat. Salute to you, brother. Thank you for always being here every Monday to support Big Rick Glaser. And also T Pitts. Also, I already acknowledged you during the show, but thank you for joining us, sir. And I hope you tune in for Coach Ronnie Shields tomorrow night. My brother Kamikaze, welcome to the show, sir. He says, what a great panel. Salute, gentlemen. Thank you. You humbled me with your thoughts, sir. And also, Jaguar, however you pronounce that, salute, people. Salute to you, brother. Thank you for joining us, sir. Also, Anthony Manzano, happy birthday once again, brother. Hi, Joe, Rick, and G Funky. Today's my birthday. I just turned 33. Oh, boy. I would give away my house to be 33 again.
Me too.
And there it is. Also, salute to Brother Boxing Historian. Guys, if you haven't already, please go subscribe to Boxing Historian as well. Salute to you, my friend, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for always being here for the legend, Rick Glaser. Dare I say legend? Yes, sir. Also, my brother Mad Dog H, saludos to you, brother. Thank you for always being here to support Big Rick Glaser. And there it is. Also, Simon, ask Rick how long he has been in law enforcement. Oh, stop it. Once again, conspiracy theories are for YouTube, but not on this channel, brother. But thank you for joining us nonetheless. And once again, Sly Tendencies, welcome to the show, brother. And thank you for the $2 super chat earlier. He says, Tyson Fury said Jared Anderson is the most talented heavyweight he's ever worked with. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Once again, he's the most athletically gifted by far. Now, whether or not that's going to equate to success at the elite level, well, that still has yet to be determined. And Outlaw, brother Outlaw, thank you once again. Better late than never for joining us. He says Funkster and JoJo. And hey, brother, thank you for always supporting Big Rick Glaser on Monday night. And that's about it, guys. And once again, God bless all of you guys. G Funky, is there anything you'd like to address before we actually bid everyone adieu?
Just keep it locked here on War Week Radio. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you want to check me out, G Funky Boxing here on YouTube. And yeah, maybe Joe could hit us with another one of his famous impressions. Maybe a little Ronnie James from Dio, a little Rainbow in the Dark.
Woo! No, dude, no. I'm not in singing mode after talking for an hour, and definitely not after this weekend. But well, let me think of one that I can actually sing.
Maybe a little Al Jolson.
No, dude, I will not do Axl Rose on this channel. No, I will not. But no, look, guys. Maybe later on in the week, once I've recovered from this weekend's festivities. But I will say this: I am getting back in vocal shape once again, and I've been working really hard. And I hope to, give you guys the first single next week from the Seance recordings, right? And also, guys, I will say this: I had no idea that this platform doesn't let you post links. Even, well, the proprietor of this platform, right? This is my channel, right? And I put a link to Beautiful Mystery, a song that I wrote and recorded with Red IV. Beautiful Mystery last Friday. I posted that in the comment section. I had no idea that they didn't allow that. So what I'm going to do, guys, for anyone, and once again, I wanted to post that link last Friday in connection with my review with At Home with the Furies, right? Because once again, I have a lot of experience dealing with bipolar disorder and severe anxiety and depression. And so it's, once again, that was the reason why I felt very strongly about giving that review. And so I'm going to publish that in the comment section today. So, guys, please give it a listen, and please let me know what you think, right? Also, I'm going to publish and post a link to this past Saturday's event in San Antonio and how I called the event. And once again, I hope you guys like the blazer that I was wearing. I've gotten a lot of comments on that. G-Funky, what did you say it resembled?
Oh, it looked a little bit like some Jim Cornette or some Bobby Heenan from the 80s pro wrestling, man. Some of the greatest managers of all time.
Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, Mouth of the South. That's right.
So, guys, I'm going to publish that as well. So you guys can hear how I called the event on Saturday nights. And thank you, G-Funky, for being a part of the show and for tuning in throughout the entire broadcast. But, guys, on behalf of G-Funky Boxing, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to Warwick Radio. And, guys, thank you once again for tuning in to Real Boxing with Rick Glaser. I will say this, though, guys. Please keep Coach Ronnie Shields in your prayers. He's going to be on the air tomorrow, but he's been fighting COVID over the last several days. Please keep Coach Ronnie in your prayers, and we'll talk with Coach Ronnie tomorrow. And once again, it's been several weeks since we've met with Coach Ronnie, but he's got a lot to discuss. We've got a lot of catching up to do. So, guys, on behalf of Real G-Funky, I'm Joseph Herron. Have a great week, everybody.
FightSaga.com and Halftime Pizza proudly present Real Talk with boxing professional Rick Glaser.